Okay, we're back. So got our boards here all cooled off. So let's take a look here. I'll get you under a microscope here in a second so you can see it a little bit better. So what we're going to do here, this one you can see there's some blobs there. I'll change the tip of my soldering iron. So what I've got here, this is a paste soldering iron. I have a fancy paste system that I picked up for a song years ago. I'm going to change my normal fine pointed tip here for a wide tip. Nice thing about this paste station, I can swap tips while they're hot. So this wide tip here, which I need to clean once it heats up, will allow me to get multiple pads at once. This tip and the fine tip are the two tips that I use the most, so very handy. So let's head over to the microscope here and take a look at how this came out. Alright, so we got a couple of through-hole components to do. We've got our capacitor here. The bar there is negative, so we'll go ahead and apply that. Then this guy. This solder I'm using is just standard Kester no clean. I've been meaning to get some water-soluble solder, just wire solder, but have not gotten around to it yet. So we'll just make do with what we got here. So that's the bottom board complete, and the back board is complete. So let's work on assembling the two of these guys. So they assemble together like so. So I guess, thinking about it, I should have put that on after the fact due to the way I'm going to do this next part, but that's okay. So the trick that I have with these is I'm not really worried about the orientation right now. So see, they're all out of line, out of whack there. So what we're going to do is, now that I got one soldered, now I'm touching the one that I'm not soldering. Otherwise you'll burn yourself, but put a little bit of heat in this one and then just kind of pull it back so that it looks kind of straight. You might have to play with that a little bit. There we go. That looks pretty straight. Okay, so I did a tricky trick in assembling this where these two pieces have to go like that, and then they get soldered there. And just to help us out, I don't really need this, but flux never hurt anyone. Sorta. Put a little bit of flux on there just to make life a little easier. So then what we're gonna do, apply a little bit of solder to this joint, and maybe a little bit on this joint. See if we can't convince these two to join up. Okay, that looks pretty good. That looks fairly straight. Got a giant square here to kind of check against here. For this particular application, it's somewhat important to make sure that they're square, and that looks really good. We're right on the money. So we got one of them soldered up in there. I don't know if you can see that there. So we got the one fillet. It's hard to see what the camera sees there, but so we'll go ahead and finish soldering this up. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Let me get you under the scope here. You'll be able to see a little bit better what's going on. Okay, for the front ones, we're not going to put the tube on yet. We're going to connect these two up first. So this, I'm going to use this guy as a kind of a standard here. Let's put just a little bit of flux on here. Okay, we'll set that there. Get that resistor there, so I got to kind of offset it a little bit. Straighten her out. Looks pretty good. That's gonna be okay. There's a little much in between those two, but it's gonna be okay. It's not shorted. That one's not connected, so we'll have to get back in there. The rest of these look okay. Let's see if we can get that bad boy there. Come on. There we go. I'm gonna try my luck here. Pull a little bit out of that guy there. Already oxidized just a little bit. It doesn't want to heat up quick. Yeah, it's not bad. There we go. That looks a little better, doesn't it? Okay. That pad there, and there's another pad here. This is a jump for the grid control. The chip is doing handling the grid, but I put in a way that I could jump across there if I needed to. Tube direct in from Russia. They came shipped just like this, so I'll just cut this tape here. So, as shipped, the wires are kind of a mess. We don't have to worry about this too much, but we are going to kind of straighten them out just a little bit. It's kind of a toss-up whether the tweezers or pliers are going to work better for that, for just a couple of these guys here that are really bent. We're just kind of coming in and straightening these out just a little bit. Don't want to get too aggressive with this. I mean, these wires do go into the glass, so you'll notice here, I don't know if you can see very well on the camera here, but we've got one that's bent over. It's just a short stubby one right there. Maybe you can see that, I don't know. That is the location mark, so you can tell which is pin 1. So just straightening them out just a little bit. Okay, so I like to sit it down and roll it a little bit. So starting with pin number 1 here, we're just going to go around and clip off slightly longer all the way around. Worry about that last one. So kind of see how that's done. I don't know if you can see that very well. So we kind of got this spiral going on. So what that's going to allow us to do is we'll be able to stick in the first one and then wiggle around and locate the next one and just kind of work our way on into the board. So on this guy, square pin here is pin number 1, and the folded over pin goes right above it. So that means that this long one goes into that slot. So let's see if you can see as I'm working here. So I just kind of walk this pin in, then right into the next one, the next one. Trying to do this and stay on camera as well is kind of hard. There's a couple more to go. And the last one, just like that. And then we just kind of ease her on into there. Sit it down, and then make sure that the tube looks fairly square. Side to side. Doesn't look too bad. We'll switch back to a slightly bigger solder here. There we go. So we got them all soldered up. So it just kind of sits in there like that. So we're gonna hold it with our hand. And just get that reflowed there. Dropped right in. Still looks pretty good. Same thing over here. We need a little bit of solder. Okay, move just a little bit. Looks pretty good. I'm gonna get all those joints that you can't see here. See if I get some light over here. I'm gonna get all those joints down inside there soldered up. So what we're gonna do is clamp it in here and then work our way across. Must be getting good at that or something, because that went really well. Really well. Almost too well. So there's the joints we just did. See if you can see that. Looks real good. I like it. I like it a lot. Yeah, that'll do it. Programmed up just fine. I think it's gonna work out. Get her little USB power meter, and stripe is negative, so it should go just like that. There we go. Look at that. So it's a little dimmer than normal, and power consumption is a lot lower. So I'm guessing that that inductor I got there is probably the better value inductor to be using. That is surprisingly lower. It's like 50 milliamps instead of 100 milliamps. Of course, the brightness isn't nearly as bright. I imagine that the voltage on the power supply is a little bit lower. So we'll plug this guy in. See, boots up just fine. Then we've got a second one here that we'll stack on there. Then they reboot. And now it's scrolling, just like it should. So that's all there is to it. You also see this one was the master, and since I unplugged it, the slave one here will just display the same character over and over again. But that gets it going. So there we go. TubeCube complete.